So, guys, how far behind England are we? That's a question that we need to know. We need to talk about this actually because I was watching the test match against India today and England versus India. And over the obviously throughout the test, I was watching it and picking up certain things and lessons that we can learn from South African point of view. I'm also looking at some of you guys and what you guys have to say on the of course, as well on many social media platforms, on Facebook, on all of these places, etc. And it's been quite tricky to understand where South Africa is. Now, I thought that I'll speak to you guys about it today, and that's what the show is about. It's how far are we behind England in particularly Test cricket, actually, all formats. I think that's something that we should discuss. But before we get going, before we get started, click subscribe on this channel, click that notification bell for all future videos, please. But also don't forget to smash that like button and share and comment and do all of those things too. It's very important that you do so we can get into recommended feeds. You can also become a patron today. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. And also go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your updates. So, without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Looking forward to discussing this and seeing what you guys have to say in the live chat. It's going to be an interactive show, guys. So, get your comments in the live chat. I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host, Khalid. And this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. And right now, I'm going to be discussing many things with you guys, but particularly what I want to talk about is how far behind are South Africa when it comes to everything. When it comes to Test cricket, when it comes to international cricket, when it comes to so many other things, how far are behind are we actually when it comes to these things? Because I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to see a team like England come in here playing Test cricket in a way that a lot of us would envy. A lot of us would want our team to play a similar, maybe style of cricket that England is playing at the moment. They're playing quite an aggressive brand of cricket, and obviously it has a lot to do with their new coach. Brendan McCullum has come in, and almost the team is almost playing within his image, you could say, and you can see by the rates that they are scoring at. I mean, particularly in the first innings, we saw signs of their ideas and what they thought or what type of style they want to play. Particularly Johnny Bairstow doing excellently well and showing that style of cricket. Now it hasn't necessarily fully come off yet. Um, I think that they are also currently in that mode of trying to play that brand of cricket and enforce that brand of cricket. It's something that I think is you're going to see them grow into the style. I don't think it automatically it's just going to work immediately flawlessly. There are going to be some kinks in the armor that they need to obviously iron out, and let's see what happens from there. But I think Alex Lees was a good example in the second innings. The way he approached this game, and he was very aggressive, and he really wanted to push the run rate forward and do this at a quick rate. Um, in the first innings for England, you could say that it was Johnny Bairstow that did that. He was the one that tried to push that mindset and really enforce that style. I mean, he scored at over 75 at ODI level, ODI rates, strike rates over here. So interesting to see that. I mean, the approach and the mentality is there. But I think there's something that we need to see. We need to check and see what happens from that perspective. Um, very very interesting. We're going to have to see and check what happens from that perspective, um, and how and how we can match it, because South Africa currently are in a situation where I feel that we don't have a clear style of cricket in any of the formats that we play, whether it be T20 cricket, whether it be Test cricket or ODI cricket. We seem to still be finding this style of cricket or style of play that we're looking for. It hasn't been a consistent thing that we've seen on a regular basis from South Africa. Every single time we play a new series, we see a different style. Now we have been speaking a lot, and um, particularly someone like Boucher has spoken about um, Boucher specifically has spoken about this attacking aggressive style of cricket that he'd like to play. But we haven't seen this style of cricket being played quite yet. It's not something that I would say is is part of our style. We've actually reverted back to a style of Test cricket as well. That is more conservative, I would say. I mean, particularly with the people that they've picked at the top of the order, it's interesting to see that we play this style of football and the way we are playing the style of football. So I don't know what we're going to be doing and how we're going to improve that, and how we're going to be doing all of these things the way we'd like. I don't really see us sorting it out as soon as we'd hoped. But how do we go there? How do we get there? That's the question that we need to know. That's the question that I would like to see. I mean, I would like to answer that question. And Werner, if you would like to join the show, of course you can join the show. I'll never tell you no. Of course you can come and join me and add more to this conversation. Otherwise, it will be only my opinion. But with Cyril Irvia and Dean Alga at the top of the order, they set the tone for the rest of the innings. They set the tone for the rest of the team. It's something that we obviously need to look at, something that we obviously have to make sure that we see us if develop and improve. And I think obviously personnel is going to change that. You need to put a player in place, someone in place that of course plays that brand of cricket, who understands, who can play that brand of cricket free flowingly without having to be without it having to be forced. Now I was hoping that South Africa would move towards that idea of play with Aiden Markram when he was selected initially. I really thought that he was going to play this more of an attacking. He'll be the more of the attacking natured opener, and complement someone like Dean Alga. I haven't necessarily, obviously, he hasn't been in the best of form either. Um, but talking about England and what we've learned there, Werner's here with us now, right, as well. Welcome to the show, Werner. Um, how far are we behind England? Because I'm watching England come out here and trying inventive things, and sooner or later they're going to be setting the standard in Test cricket too. I mean, they set the standard in ODIs and in white ball cricket. This way of play that they want to play smart, aggressive, attacking cricket, but they haven't necessarily, and they never necessarily did it in Test cricket yet. But now we're starting to see this aggressive approach. Is it a way that you are as a fan are attracted to that style of Test cricket, or do you think they are maybe playing with fire? That it will be easy for them to be caught out eventually, because right now it's quite a shock to the system, and a lot of people, this is new to them to face a team that is going to come at you so aggressively in Test cricket from the get go. Playing this attractive brand of cricket is going to be a good thing for cricket, I feel, in a way, especially for their fans. Maybe it will be entertained every time they walk out to the middle. Where South Africa is still sitting with this conservative brand of cricket that we're playing. And even though we've said we want to play an attacking brand of cricket. So, what's your thoughts on that? How far behind England are we? Are they the benchmark? Are they setting the benchmark?
I guess it depends on how you're looking at it. If you're talking about setting the benchmark for a new aggressive type of play, maybe. But if you look at the Test Championship table, we are second, and England are still way behind. It's only just recently that the approach might be a bit more attacking, with Baz being the coach and all. But I think they have a long way to go to prove that this will be a viable option in any conditions, because so far they've been able to do this when the pitch has been pretty flat. maybe a bit of movement early on with the new ball. But after that, the pitches in England have generally become quite flat once the ball's gone soft. And then they've had informed Johnny Bairstow and Joe Root to come in and do the bulk of the work. Um, Even now, they are still predominantly um, they are in the position they are in the last couple of series, predominantly due to Jarut and Johnny Bairstow being in the form of their lives. Their openers haven't really clicked until this very innings. They've struggled up top. Um, Ben Stokes has been ultra aggressive to his own detriment, throwing his wickets away. Maybe trying to set the example for England how they want to approach it, but maybe going to a bit of the extreme and not putting a price on his wicket at the same time. So I wouldn't say they are necessarily far ahead of us in the test format. I think they're way ahead of us in limited overs formats. I'll give them that. I think in T20s and ODIs, they are miles ahead of us in their approach. I think we are still stuck in the early 2000s with our batting approach in the limited overs format. We are definitely not playing with the times. We are still very conservative when it comes to the limited overs format. So there, I would say we are very far behind. But in terms of tests, I don't think so. We've been doing pretty well. We still have a lot to work on. Our batting lineup, especially um, is still very new, I could say, in terms of what the new guys coming in: Ryan Rickleton, Carl Verena, Keegan Peterson, even Rusty van der Dessen, they're all still fairly new to Test cricket. So we have a long way to go, and it still looks a bit fragile. But in terms of how we've been going in the Test format, I don't think we're going too poorly. I think we're heading in the right direction. I do think we still have one of the best bowling attacks in the world, and I do
Mm.
think that England will find it much more difficult to take this approach against us. And even if they do, they will present us with opportunities, and we just need to take those catches.
I think that we need to take advantage of it because there are some flaws in this style of playing Test cricket. For me personally, don't play with the conditions. I don't think that in Test cricket um, that we'll see it the transition as easy. I think there's going to be a lot of thinking involved when playing this type of cricket, and yes, perhaps England have already worked out the smart aspect of that brand, and they are starting to come out with it more intent. It seems that way, but sometimes conditions are not going to allow them to do so, especially in Test cricket. Maybe you can get away with it a lot more in ODIs and in T20s. Well, more in T20s than in ODIs, I would say. You can get away with it. Playing an attacking brand of cricket all the time, but I feel that in Test cricket, 5-day game conditions sometimes it's not going to allow them to do so, and that's going to be interesting. Is how they're going to adapt. Are they going to continue with the mindset right through, no matter what happens, or will they adapt? And that's going to be an interesting thing. With regards to us against England, it's going to be a true test of our character and our players, and particularly the bowling attack that we have, like you said, are going to give them some issues, and it's going to be interesting to see whether they can play that same brand of cricket against South Africa. Um, but if South Africa takes that stance and that transition and decide, okay, we also want to play this like attacking brand of cricket in Test cricket. Um, I mean, there was already talk about 4-day cricket, maybe changing Test cricket to 4 days, which I didn't like the conversations around that. I wanted to remain 5 days. I like that extra day. That extra day gives you, I don't know, a little bit of extra suspense. You don't know anything can happen.
And in
Um,
England, with all the rain, you can't play 4 days.
oh, we can't. Yeah, definitely
And
not.
imagine going to Durban and you have 4 days and you lose 3 days due to bad light and rain.
Oh Lord, yeah, that will be horrible. So from your perspective, how do we? Oh my Lord, seriously, all the way from South Africa, a teachers, yeah. How's his brother? He's even got
How
a
is
South
it, my
African
bro?
fade.
His Wi-Fi is working, as you said, Tom.
Yeah.
Uh, how is it, my bro? I miss you, man.
How are you guys? How are you doing, man? I haven't seen you so long. How's everything going?
It's good. It's good. I am. Yeah, I was missing the show, man. I was like, listen, I need to be here. I need to find a way. So, fortunately, I came back in time, and I had dinner and all of that, and now I'm here, ready to chat cricket. So here I am.
Awesome, man. Thanks for joining us. Where are you right now, Aditya, for the people that want to know? Because they're waiting in that anticipation for that show that we're supposed to be doing soon. Uh,
Yes, I am currently at the Pilanesberg National Park, and yeah, I'm on safari. It's been great 2 days here. One more day to go, and then I'll be going to Durban for a couple of days.
Okay, nice. So we were just talking about Durban and conditions in Durban. Anyway, but besides that, we're talking about India and England. We're talking
Yeah.
about this brand of cricket that England's playing against you guys currently, really going for it. Even particularly the opening batters, really looking like they are trying to play this aggressive style of cricket. I mean, if you look at Johnny Bairstow's 100, it's almost like an ODI strike rate. So, what is your thoughts on this? Do you think that this is a I understand the thought process in white ball cricket when conditions don't play as big of a role as it will play in Test cricket. Do you think that this is the right mentality to go with into for England to go into this? And what sort of vibes do you take from it from you for your team's perspective, and maybe even South Africa? Is there anything that you take from their mentality? Has it been a breath of fresh air for you, or what is your take on it as an India supporter watching this team play against you guys? I know it's quite evenly poised at the moment, of course.
Hmm.
I mean, England is also not necessarily racked up the runs with everybody. It's basically one or two players that are really pushing them through and getting them runs on the board. If you look at the scorecard, maybe while you're watching, it looks quite exciting, but when you look at the scorecard in the end, maybe it's not as flattering as we'd hoped or England would have hoped for.
Look, I think it's good for England and England cricket that the Test team is doing well. I think generally it's important for world cricket that England has a strong Test team, and I think it's good to see Johnny Bairstow play well. Joe Root, of course, has been having the time of his life, and it's quite refreshing to see Ben Stokes' captaincy and Baz McCullum's sort of imprint on that team. So that's great. But I think the sort of approach that England has endorsed now is it it's great, and it reminds me of the beginning of the white ball revolution, which began in 2015, right, where they decided to go all out. But I think if there's one thing that I'd probably say about England is that how are they going to adapt on more challenging wickets, against high quality lineups? Because ultimately we've talked about this before. Conditions determine how you play, right? You can't play
Mm.
this sort of cricket on every single wicket, because then there will be times when oppositions will blow you away. But having said that, um, I think England's confidence is really high at the moment, and as it should be. So if if there's a concern for South Africa, I think that's where it is. Because England are coming in having played a fair bit of Test cricket before the South Africa series, but South Africa, on the other hand, are going in fairly cold. So I think that's probably going to be South Africa's biggest challenge, and yeah, I'm not sure they can afford another one of those slow starts, because if
Mm.
England takes a lead in that series while South Africa is still acclimating to those conditions, it might be a bit difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, particularly in the white ball arena. I mean, Werner, we've been speaking about it for ages now. South Africa's approach, particularly in how they set up at the top of the order, and really thought that the World Cup, the T20 World Cup, would set the foundation for the way we can move forward and improve on. I thought that they 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 built a protection and a base, and I thought they were going to improve on that and increase their I don't know their style of cricket, make maybe be a little bit more brave than like a lot of like England are. What do South Africa need to do? Do you think to get to that freedom is, do you think that it's just personnel at the moment? Do you think that maybe that will change if we pick the right players with the right mentality, that that would automatically change our style of cricket that we play?
To some degree, maybe the personnel could help, um, but I still think we kind of have the right players. Um, they just need some backing and telling. They need to be told that you can go out there and look to hit the ball. Don't be afraid of losing your wicket. I think that's one of the main things holding us back at this stage. So it's like the guys are out there thinking like we just need to be in here until the 15th over, and then we look to go big. While in T20s, that's just not the right approach. You need to be looking to really utilize every over. Somebody like Rossi really needs to let loose. Um, and it's frustrating when a guy takes more than 10 balls to get himself going. You can't be 20 off 20 balls in a T20, especially when the guy at the other end is also not really going well. So I think it's more an approach thing than it is necessarily a personnel issue. I think Riley Rousseau could make a major difference in a T20 side. So I'm looking forward to see how he will go. I think his free spirited nature and the way he has been playing across the world in a T20 circuit, and an experience he does bring, might just infuse something in this team, maybe to just get them going again. And we just need him and Quinny. We need Quinny to be a free flowing Quinny again. He can't be all up in his head thinking about it too much. He just needs to go with the flow as he does when he's going well. So I don't think we're far off in T20s. I think in ODIs we still don't really know what we're doing. Um, I'm not sure what exactly the issue is. It's like they don't have a blueprint about how to approach a batting innings in particular, and how to take wickets through the middle overs if their spinners are not firing. If Shams is not picking up 3 or 4 wickets, it seems like we don't know what to do. So a lot needs to be worked on in the ODI format, but I think we are not too far off in T20s and in the test format.
Aditya, I mean, we've had shows about this, identifying that style of cricket. And whenever I hear Mark Boucher, like I've seen a comment over here from Jean saying that if the coach is conservative, the style of play will be conservative, simple. Um, and Mark Boucher came out in a couple of press conferences, even his first ever one that was at Newlands. He spoke about a style of this positive brand of cricket that he wants to instill into South Africa's play. Have you seen any of that or signs of that at all within the different formats?
Looks, Boucher's been talking about that since day one, but he's also got to have the personnel to be able to do that. So for 1 second, just visualize Boucher as the coach of England, and ask and have him convey that message, that smart, aggressive brand of cricket message to England, and you'll find that it works because they have the personnel to do it. I'm not sure if South Africa have the personnel to do it, because what happens is that you can play a certain way. You can play in the way that the world is sort of going towards, but you also have to stick to your strengths. You have to find that balance, because at the moment, as Werner said, if you're taking 20 of 20 balls to get off the mark, then there needs to be another way that you do it. But like you said, we've talked about it before. Who are the real sort of aggressive power hitters in the team who can sort of tee off from ball one? I'd say that there are two players there. One is Quinton de Kock and the other is David Miller. Everyone in between probably takes a little while. And even David Miller, in an ideal scenario, should take his time before he gets going. But if we're talking about a real power game, it's only these two individuals who've got it. Having said that, Werner, it's good to see you on screen again, bro, after seeing you live.
Yeah, good to see you, Aditya. Glad you could hop on. Sorry about your code's in Pretoria. I told Adicha he's getting the full SA experience.
Yeah, yo, how's the load shedding been? Or have you been in places that have generators?
So I'll tell you my experience of load shedding thus far has been on the streets of Johannesburg, because I tell you, bro, like the day I landed, okay, the sun set soon after, and by the time I got out of the airport, it's pitch dark, and I drive into Johannesburg. It's about like I'm about 40 minutes away from the airport, and I see no street lights whatsoever. There's no one on the road, barely any cars on the road, and I'm like, this is what's going on here. So yeah, it was a little bit unnerving, but I do have a certain degree of affection for Johannesburg, and I love it. So yeah,
Unlike
that's
me.
good. But yeah, I've had the experience of load shedding.
Uh, okay, yeah, because it's been hitting me hard, like flipping out 3 times a day almost. Like uh, it's been crazy, and it's at the worst times, at the worst times, and every time everybody else also says, I think it's not the time actually, it's the periods between. I think that's the problem more than the time that it actually goes off, because I think everybody would think that their load shedding schedule is worse than someone else's. So, I mean, the one morning I thought that I was going to get load shedding and I prepared and everything, and then nothing happened. And then I was like, okay, fine. It skipped because the same grid, the people that are on the same grid with me did get. So then I was like, okay, cool. I'm not gonna get. That's great. I skipped it. Then I put on the TV again, and I started working again. And then boom, I was like, what is going on here now? It's like, this is what schedules this. It's almost like they forgot. They were like, oh flip, go put the switch on quickly because we forgot that area. I don't know. It's been insane to manage. Luckily that the Wi-Fi connections and everything have been connected up for me personally. UPSs, all of those type of stuff at least, so that I can do these shows even though there is load shedding. It's the light that's the problem. So I've had to make sure that all the lights are charged, etc., for those type of things. But luckily, no load sheddings at the moment. So we can have a good, decent show. Um, Okay, let me give you the final question of the day. I want to ask you guys, um, what is the way forward for South Africa, with regards to getting that perfect brand of cricket? I mean, I've always wanted South Africa to play an adaptable style of cricket rather than focusing on aggressive, rather focusing on the adaptation of being able to understand the conditions and then being able to apply. I don't want us to be able to look at the conditions, then understanding that it's attacking and then still play conservative. I want us to actually go and try to play the style of cricket that suits those conditions. How far are we from that? Let's just go around and ask you guys about that. Werner, let's start with you.
Um, I think in terms of the limited overs format, we are still some way off. Um, I think we still struggle to adapt to particular um, conditions and circumstances in a match or in a tournament like the World Cup, where you know that net run rate is important, right? But then we take like the maximum amount of time to chase a small Bangladesh score, where everybody sitting at home knows that you need to try and chase this as quickly as possible. And then you see Australia going and doing it in 6 overs like the next match. And you're like, but this is what we should have been doing. And if we did, we would have been in ahead of them or ahead of England. So we we just need to get our processes right, our thinking right. Um, and I just in general want us to play a more positive branding of cricket. It doesn't necessarily have to be aggressive, but play to the situation. If the situation calls for you to go harder in the power play because that's the best time to bat in T20s, then do that, or get the right players opening. If Temba is not the right guy to open with Quinny in T20s and they aren't able to form that partnership to get us off to good starts, then try somebody else. Um, if our middle order is not firing because you're batting David Miller at 6 still, then switch it up. I hope now that he's going to be T20 captain for this tour that he will bat himself higher up. I wouldn't be surprised if he sends himself in at 4. I'd love to see it, actually. So there's quite a few things to look forward to. I'm excited to see how his T20 captaincy will go. He hasn't done it a lot. He did captain Punjab for a while. Didn't go too well. I think he captained 2 matches against Pakistan a couple of years ago. It went all right. We made one man of the match in one of the games. Um, but in general, yeah, just a bit more positive. I think in tests we're not too far off. We just need to get our batting sorted. We just need to bat more time. We've been struggling to rack up the hundreds. If we can start doing that, I think we're well on our way because our bowling lineup is very destructive,
Hmm.
and we just need to hit the ground running, as Aditya referred to earlier as well. We can't go into the 3 match series against England and play as poorly as we did in the first match versus New Zealand, for example. We can't start off on the back foot because once we do that, England will just roll over us. So we need to make sure that we're in the game from the get go. It isn't easy because England are getting a lot more game time than we are. I mean, the last test we played was in April against Bangladesh, and so it's not really that easy to just get going, but hopefully they can. They should have a tour match at least. Hopefully they get all the things in order before that match. But yeah, looking forward to all the formats. Really, it's good to see a cross format tour. Finally, we get T20s, ODIs, and tests, and three in all. So not just a 2 test match series for a change. That's been very frustrating. So it's good to see us getting a 3 match series, even though it's probably only due to us playing England.
Yeah. Aditya, from your perspective as well, get some insight from you too, because I do look at the test team and the way we're setting up. We don't tend to pick the personnel that reflects that brand of cricket, and sometimes in the T20 format too, we're not picking the players that are maybe complementing what Mark Boucher has been speaking about. We're not seeing that. We, like, for example, playing two slower strike rate batters at the top of the order. No matter what the situation is, the mindset needs to remain the same. Don't fall back and be safe every single time something goes wrong. Have the preparation there. Have the pipeline visible. Have the next players in line can step in to fit into that style of play. I mean, I was one of the people initially that thought maybe that the players dictate your style of play, the players that you select, and then you play an adaptable brand according to that. But I don't think that will be good for South Africa as a team environment. I rather want the consistency where everybody that comes into the setup understands, okay, this is how I need to play and how I need to approach myself, not chop and change all the time, because you can never find consistency in um, team, a good team ethos at least, in that manner. If you're changing things all the time, so how far are we from getting to a level that you think that maybe South African fans will be happy with? Because I know we as South Africans, we just want to win. I've seen it so many times. We complained, like, for in rugby, it's very evident. We complained and complained about the brand of rugby we were playing. Why can't we play an attacking brand of rugby and running rugby and all of those things? We just reverted back to our and did the things that we really did well and the basics well again, and we started winning and we won another World Cup, and everybody forgot about it again. So I think winning obviously will dull that desire to want to go and play this brand of cricket.
Look, I would like to think that the test team has turned the corner to a certain degree, particularly after those wins against India and, that win against New Zealand, series win against Bangladesh. So I do think that the test team has done well. Um, Having said that, there is a setback. I'd imagine that with Temba not being available for the uh, Temba not being available for the
You just aged
series.
dramatically, Khalid.
Temba not being available for the England series, I think that presents something of a conundrum for the selectors, because they need someone with that sort of consistency in the middle order to be able to perform. And I think we can all agree that South Africa's bowlers have been stepping up consistently to sort of carry the team, I'd say, and the team probably needs a few more hundreds on a consistent basis in home and overseas conditions. Um, with I thought the ODI brand was sort of set till the India series, and then they went and lost against Bangladesh. So I think that's more of a one step forward, two steps back sort of situation for the ODI team at the moment. And with T20, look, I think it's the same challenges that we've been talking about for a long time now. Particularly with strike rates at the top of the order and slow starters and things like that. So I'd be interested to see how the T20 team is structured for this England tour with David Miller as captain. Because if, as one has said, David Miller comes up at four, then the question is where will Aiden Markham bat? And I think they need to sort of figure that out.
Yeah, they need to figure out what they're going to do with Markham in general. Um, they've been like moving him around. Like I think he's maybe unclear about what direction or where they see him. It's almost like whatever format he's in form in, he's the man in that format, and then he goes out of form, and then he's not the man anymore, and then finds form in another format, and now he's the man in that format. So like it's not necessarily something that we need to sort it out. I think him too. We really need a sports psychologist. I feel something that I think South African cricket has been lacking for years. I know that we've had guys that came in, worked with the team a little bit, and then left. But I think we need a permanent person that can really work on high performance mentality wise from a mental perspective, not only high performance from a technical perspective. I think that's something that we also maybe lack within the team.
Yeah, it. We definitely do have some mental blockage. I don't know what the word is, but we do have some struggles. But I do think Aiden Markram it's an interesting one now, right? Because I didn't feel he should be in the test side anymore, because he's really struggled to figure things out in this format. But now with Temba injured, he might still get a place in the side, and it'll be very very interesting to see how he approaches it, because he'll probably come in around number four, maybe number five, um, and maybe just maybe he can try. I don't know if he's going to, but maybe he can try and play the Johnny Bairstow type of role, the type of aggressor, because we do know that that is his natural brand is pretty attacking, right? Aiden Markram, and if the pitches do tend to flatten out in England, like it has now, and the Duke's ball becomes softer, and our top order managed to blunt out the new ball attack, right? And Dean Algar, Saro Erwe, Keegan Peterson managed to fight it out for 30, 40 overs. And then Aiden Markram comes in against the ball that's not moving around anymore. He might just make a difference in the series. This might just be the series that could potentially turn things around for him in this format. So I'm kind of looking forward to how that might go. Maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe he fails again, and when we'll say, okay, no, we'll move on from him. Temba will come straight back in the
Mm,
next series. And obviously, Timber has been our best test player in the last couple of years, so he's a big miss in this series,
yeah.
definitely. But it'll be interesting to see if Aiden Markham does get a go, how his approach will be. My sentiment will be try and play attacking. Don't now try and switch your game up totally because it's now the test format and try to be too conservative. I'd say he should just play his natural game.
Mhm. I mean, we don't realize how big of a loss it's going to be. Temba Kwani also retiring from Test cricket. That's been our backbone and our savior for so many years because we never sorted out that top order in Test cricket. So there's going to be a hell of a lot of pressure on our new guys. Keegan Peterson's particularly. I don't know if Russ is going to play, if they're going to put him straight back into the team again after the words that Dean Algo spoke about these players need to work their way back into the side and all of those things. They didn't have to wait very long to be reselected in the squad. So it doesn't look like they're going to be sticking to those words that Dean Alga had to say. Also, we asked him personally to also talk about something with regards to the IPL, and whether the what the effect is on our cricket in the country, and this domestic leagues and all of that. And he chose not to speak to us about it because he didn't. It was a little bit of a controversial topic. So that just maybe shows where he's sitting on the fence with regards to that. So Aditya, let's get the final words from you and then final words from Werner. Um, yeah, South Africa, the England tour is going to be a very key tour to where to the future, because it's going to either expose us dramatically, or it's going to actually show some progress of how we've improved or whether we are growing.
Yeah, it's an interesting tour, and I think to a certain degree, South Africa have already begun on the back foot because of Temba's injury and the fact that they haven't really played Test cricket in a while. Um, so that's certainly there. Not to mention that England is playing really well at the moment. Um, Having said that, I think it's going to be a good test, and I'm certainly looking forward to see how South Africa go about their business in this series, because Dean Elgar is not going to accept anything other than win. Uh, but he also has to be realistic about the fact that that they're going to go in undercooked. So let's see how they go. But all in all, I think it's going to be a really exciting series.
Yeah, it's been a very long time since we've beaten England in a test series, right? They've come here and beaten us. They've beaten us in England. I don't think it's been since Graham Smith really that we've beaten England in a test series. I don't have the stats in front of me, but that is what I'm guessing right now. And so it would be a major deal if we managed to beat England in a test series there. I'm only really referring to the test series because that's the format I enjoy the most, and I think I'm looking forward to the most over there. The other formats are important, especially the T20s in the World Cup here, but I'm just really looking forward to the test series. It would be a major feat if we can or do manage to defeat them, and it'll always also put us a lot closer to making that final in the Test Championship. So a very important series coming up. I do think that Algar will be really up for it, and he'll make sure that the team is up for it. I just hope that we do start well this time. That we start off on the front foot. I don't like us just trying to fight from behind the whole time. I mean, it gets so tiring. Like, oh, on day 4, oh, at least we managed to bat the whole day off, and we fought until the end, but we lost. Like, no, let's let's play on the front foot. Let's us put England under pressure. Let them try and chase 350 plus against our attack on days 4 and 5, and let's
Mhm.
see if they can do the same type of thing against us. Because I don't think they will find it as easy.
Yeah, I mean, we have to give some credit where it's due. I mean, I have seen Dean Alga play a lot more attacking than he used to. I mean, especially against India, he was really a lot more positive. So I like the signs of that. For me personally, my ideal scenario is having one of each. You know, someone that can, because I want all my bases covered as a person. That's the type of person I am. So like I would like to have a guy that is. I mean, two adaptable batters would be the ultimate prize for me. But if that's not available, then I would like one gritty guy and one attacking guy. Just so that you can have that freedom movement between the two. You can switch, because it's a strategic game. Test cricket. You put bowlers under pressure. It can be a very difficult day for them. And I like the fact that you can grind someone out mentally and physically until they can't anymore. Like I like that about Test cricket. So I don't want them to take that away with, and then it's just like a glorified 2 day ODI. I don't want that to end up happening. I want still the charm of the Test arena, the that mindset of having to grind it out and really be mentally tough and physically tough and all of those things. I want that to still remain, um, yeah, remain in place. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Thank you a lot, Werner. Thank you a lot, Aditya, for keeping me company. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe, click that notification bell for future videos. And also, don't forget to subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine Monthly. We are coming out with the next issue tomorrow. We're working hard to complete it. It is about T20 cricket, and whether T20 cricket is helping the game, or is it aiding it, or is it letting the game down a bit in other ways. There are some various opinions in this particular magazine that will give you a different insight from both sides of the fence. Some people in the middle too. So I think it's something. It will be a good read for you guys to get an understanding of T20 cricket and its effect on our game of cricket in the country. But to all the guys that have tuned in, thanks a lot for joining. Remember to go to the PayPal, to go to the Patreon accounts, all of those things, and the links in the description. Please go and check those links out and click on them and follow the instructions and do whatever they're prompting you to do. And enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know we came a little bit later today, but we will be back to normal schedules again, more regularly. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, everybody. And Aditya, hope to see you also very, very soon. Peace, everybody. And enjoy the rest of your evening.